Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
It allows you to miss up to 12 payments.
Help and options to ease the mortgage worries.
They need you to be able to stay in business.
Supporting restaurants through the worst of times.
In a matter of about 3.5 weeks, I lost my baby sister and my mother.
One family's tragedy in the middle of the pandemic, but remaining optimistic about the future.
Basically, it was just time management and a lot of late nights.
How Garrett Sanders became a 2020 LPB Louisiana Young Hero. Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha Williams.
And I'm Andre Morrow. Much more on those top stories in a moment on this week's edition of SWI. But first, the latest coronavirus numbers.
The latest statistics have us surpassing a significant milestone. More than 4,000 Louisiana residents have now died.
Governor John Bel Edwards made a big testing announcement this week. Louisiana's governor and those from 5 other states agreed to a first-of-its-kind testing deal. The interstate plan will expand rapid point-of-care antigen testing. States are facing testing shortages and delays in getting results. Governor Edwards and those from Maryland, Ohio, Massachusetts, Michigan, and Virginia announced the bipartisan deal with the Rockefeller Foundation and private companies. It's expected more states, cities, and local governments will join.
Exactly how we will deploy these tests, we don't know yet. But I can tell you, Dr. B was right. On the initial list, we have 45 point-of-care tests that are going to be going to 45 different nursing homes in Louisiana. I don't believe any have received them as of yet, but over time, the plan is for every nursing home to get one of these tests, and I don't know what that time horizon looks like. So when these tests that are available through this compact are available to us, we will look at the landscape as it is at that time and then decide how we need to employ these particular tests.
2 more states did join the group Thursday. Also Thursday, a state judge upheld the governor's statewide mask mandate and bar restrictions, saying that his efforts are proactive to limit a loss of life. And now a look at other headlines making news around our state. The governor this week continued the state's mask mandate and business restrictions to combat the pandemic at least 3 more weeks, despite lawsuits seeking to upend the orders. Chief Public Health Advisor Dr. Alex Biu says with at least 50,000 active COVID cases in the state where people can shed the virus to others, we are in no position to change the orders. There's confirmation of a dog in the state testing positive for the coronavirus. State Ag Commissioner Mike Strain says a nasal swab determined the dog's infection. Strain says there is no evidence of pets playing a big role in helping spread the virus, but it appears people with COVID can spread to animals in close contact. The state announced safety guidelines for movie and TV productions this week, with filming expected to resume this month. The guidelines call for productions to have a coronavirus compliance officer, provide testing for workers, require everyone except performers while in action to wear masks, do temperature checks, distance people, and use digital scripts when possible. Filming has been on hold here since March. The state's unemployment trust fund, which was a healthy $1.1 billion before the pandemic, is on track to run out of money by mid-September. Hundreds of thousands of people are out of work and collecting benefits. Draining the fund does not stop benefits, though, to unemployed workers, but will trigger other challenges with economies in serious trouble. The high school football season is now planned to start October 8th. The State Prep Athletic Association says the plans call for a 6 or 8 game season with playoffs extended until late December. The regular season was scheduled to start September 3rd. The world-famous K. Paul's on Charter Street in the French Quarter is a big-name New Orleans restaurant that says it has closed its doors for good. The Louisiana Restaurant Association estimates 1 in 4 restaurants across the state will not survive the coronavirus, and with that estimate much higher in the Crescent City. I talked about the dilemma and what you can do to help with LRA President Stan Harris.
It's not something that obviously I was proud of sharing, because the concern that we have is in New Orleans, it's much more tourism specific. So if you look at the city that had almost 19.5 million visitors last year in 2019, our airport's doing about 10% of its lift. Our cruise line business is nil. Our international air travel from British Air and Condor are gone right now. So there's no real demand drivers, and most of our visitors that are coming to New Orleans right now are from the driving market, within 300 miles. So none of our fairs and festivals are going on. We don't have any trade shows or association meetings. We don't have any corporate meetings going on. So, our industry is under a great deal of stress, and it had a tremendous amount of overcapacity in New Orleans specifically because of the demand of tourists. One of the large reservation companies shared with us that about 65% of the reservations for dining reservations in New Orleans pre-COVID were made by people who lived outside of 100 miles of New Orleans. So that tells us the tourism element of that was really important, but it also tells us too that it's going to be hard for that other 35 or 40% of locals to sustain the number of restaurants that we had in this marketplace.
Because there's not at least we know this will end on this date and then we can begin to rebuild. Because there is not that, the uncertainty is, it's stifling.
I sat with a member the other day that I had lunch at his restaurant, and he said, I went into this with great enthusiasm. And when we had the stay-at-home order, he said, I said, this is the right thing to do. And then we came out of it, and he said, and we were starting to operate at 25%, and I was doing crawfish boils on the weekend, and I was doing some other things. But he said, it's never gotten back to normal. When we moved to phase 2, I'm now doing less business today than before because there's more restaurants open and there's less demand. So, as he said, everyone uses the point in New Orleans of Hurricane Katrina. I lived through Katrina. The water went down, the power got restored, people came back. He said, we haven't seen that now. And he says, it's really getting tiresome. We're 150 days plus into this. And he said, I don't know when the end is going to come. And the other part is, I can't tell my staff how this is going to look for us day to day. Those restaurants that are in the quick service business that have drive-through, like a Raising Cane's or Taco Bell, they've pivoted to being an all drive-through all the time. So when you're doing just drive-through, you're having to push more through the window, but you're able to sustain 85 to 95% of your revenue. A full-service restaurant just doesn't have that capacity because they're less capacity inside. They have less demand. They have less staff to be able to execute that. They may have a shorter menu. So all of these things are more difficult for that full-service operator than a quick service. The restaurant industry is resilient. We think that it's going to recover through this. It will create opportunities where some restaurants fall by the wayside. Others will look at that as an opportunity. I think you saw in Baton Rouge yesterday, one of our restaurants, Beausoleil, changed hands. In New Orleans, we're seeing new restaurants open on a pretty regular basis right now. If I can give one piece of advice and request, please, if you can't go visit one of your favorite restaurants, order out, order takeout, order delivery, stay connected to them because they need you to be able to stay in business. And those small orders and those family dinners and the things like that, you can't create the same experience at home, but they could sure supply the meal for you.
Stan, thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you're doing, and hang tough, hang in there.
Andre, good to talk to you. God bless. Take care of yourself.
Louisiana homeowners are feeling the impact the coronavirus has on the state economy. Louisiana is second in the nation regarding homeowners behind on their mortgage payments. It means 1 out of every 10 homeowners are behind right now on their mortgage. People who can't pay their mortgages is another problem you can tack on to an ever-expanding list of issues we're dealing with. LSU economist Jim Richardson says solutions appear to be limited.
The state cannot do a great deal because it too has its budget constraints. Congress and the federal government has a lot more flexibility. They have the ability to run deficits. They have the ability to borrow from the Federal Reserve System. They can do things which nobody else can do.
It turns out, though, some policy changes at the federal level could serve as something of a mortgage safety net. Tom D'Armond is Executive Vice President of Servicing at GMFS Mortgage in Baton Rouge.
So most of the mortgages that are made in the U.S. is backed by federal agencies, whether that's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or HUD. So the federal government and these agencies will put in place relief efforts for COVID-19, and they've done that, and they've been more consumer friendly, I would say.
These are options that were not available in 2016 when the floods drove people out of their homes. D'Armond says through the CARES Act, these federal agencies are allowing for a forbearance, which literally means to hold back, as in holding back from moving toward foreclosure.
So it allows you to miss up to 12 payments of your mortgage. At the end of the 12 periods, and they typically start with a 6-month time when you're talking to your servicer, a 3 to 6 month time, where you let your servicer know that you can't necessarily make the payments. They will put you in a forbearance period. It is not reported to your credit bureaus that you're late, which is very beneficial for consumers. And it allows you the time to get back on your feet.
D'Armond says there are a number of other options, like extensions or deferments, to fit different situations.
If you have a conventional loan, as opposed to an FHA loan or a VA loan or a USDA loan, you have a conventional loan, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have come out and said that you can do what's called a deferment. And so a deferment takes those payments that you've missed and basically puts it on the back of the loan. Okay, so you don't have to come up with all the payments in the beginning. Now, when you call into your servicer is going to ask, can you make the payments? Can you make up the 3 payments you missed or 4 payments you missed? And by and large, most people are going to say no.
Payment plans are another possibility.
It's a horrible situation, but this winds up being a great thing and a real blessing. It sounds like to me.
It really is, and the agencies have worked hard with their lenders, such as GMFS, to get our input on what consumers really need.
When the flood struck, options were few.
So that caused more stress for the borrowers because they didn't have a year and they weren't able to do a deferment and put it back on the end of the loan. FHA and VA have come out with very similar options as well. So it is a tough time for a lot of people. There is a lot of concern from a lot of people on making your mortgage payments, but there are things being done by these agencies in order to help borrowers as much as they can.
Richardson says if only Washington had a comprehensive, unified approach.
So that what we do in Florida will not adversely affect people in Louisiana or vice versa. And the things like that, I think there needs to be some type of consistency across states.
They were like 2 peas in a pod, and sadly, Ann Gaines and her daughter Jan died within 3 weeks of one another during these very difficult times. As we learned from Rodney Spruel, his mother and sister would have been thrilled to know that other family members are working to make our community a better place.
I was born in New Orleans, raised in Baton Rouge. I presently live in Virginia. I've lived there since 1998.
Rodney Spruel's return to the Bayou State came under the worst possible circumstances. It was one tragedy quickly followed by another.
My mother had been really sick. She was in the hospital. There are three of us. My baby sister had been her caretaker for some time. They were like two peas in a pod. She went everywhere with her, took her everywhere she needed to go. Well, I got a call on the 25th of June from my other sister, and she was hysterical. I was surprised to hear from her, but in that she was hysterical, I just thought immediately that my mother had passed because of her illness. But when we got to the bottom line, she explained to me that my baby sister, Jan, had left the hospital early that morning around 2 after mother had awakened and come out of a coma and told her that she looked like she was tired. She needed to go home and get some rest and not to worry about her. Jan left the hospital and she fell asleep at the wheel, ran into the bridge, and was killed almost instantly. I mean, they pronounced her dead when she came back, ironically, to the same hospital that my mother was in. So at that point, when I got that phone call, I jumped on the last flight that was leaving that day to get there that evening. And of course, because of the COVID situation that everyone is going through throughout the world, I was not able to go into the hospital because only one person can go in under the circumstances that we're dealing with now. And the one person that was allowed to go in was my sister that was involved in the accident. So that was a task. I didn't get an opportunity to get into the hospital to see my mother until the next day. And at that point, she had already been told that Jan had been involved in an accident and was deceased.
Days later, his mother, 79-year-old Ann Gaines, was released from the hospital as the family planned the funeral of the baby of the family, 50-year-old Jan Gaines. Within 2 days, though, the family matriarch was rushed back to the hospital.
She had a seizure. Unfortunately, she had been doing very well the 2 days that she was at home. And I was optimistic because I was bringing her back to Virginia with me when I returned, when she was able to travel. She went into the hospital, and over the span of about a week and a few days, things turned for the worse, and she passed.
2 funerals within 3 weeks' time, limited family allowed to attend the funeral services. They were practically forced to grieve alone.
And we buried my sister on the 3rd of July, and we buried my mother the 2 Fridays after that, which would have been, the 17th of July. So needless to say, it's been a tough couple of weeks.
Through it all, with the support of many people far and near, Spruel and his family are cherishing the memories of their lost loved ones, but looking at a bright spot that would have made his mom so proud.
Out of tragedy, we've had, as I told you, I have a nephew. And the thing that I've focused on at this point, other than the few things that I'm doing to take care of my mother's affairs, is him. He's just announced his candidacy for the 5th Congressional District for the state of Louisiana. His name is, I'm a little emotional because I've always thought that this is what he should do. He is, his name is Martin Lamel, and he's a phenomenal young man. He's as close to what my wife and I have as a son. And what I've said to a lot of people who wanted to send money for the funerals is to put that money toward his campaign, because he will be as different a candidate as we've ever seen. The task that he's undertaken is going to be difficult. But if anybody can do what he's attempting to do, he's that individual. So I use all the energy. My mother was very political. She was a political activist. And all the energy that she would have used, I will use that in everything that I have in my body to see that he is successful.
Martin Lamel is running to replace Congressman Ralph Abraham, who's not seeking re-election after serving 3 terms.
Election day is just under 3 months away. How to get people more interested in the political process is the topic of this month's Louisiana Public Square. The encore broadcast of Engaging Louisiana will be Wednesday, August 12th at 7 p.m. with a repeat on Sunday, the 16th at 11 a.m.
From food drives to fundraising for several charities, Garrett Sanders has made giving back to his community a top priority. The Hammond resident is known for his volunteerism, all while maintaining a nearly 4.0 GPA. Sanders credits his mom with helping him become a 2020 LPB Louisiana Young Hero. Garrett Sanders is headed to Southeastern Louisiana University this fall, but not before a stellar academic performance at Hammond Magnet High School, and he's already off and running.
Ended up with a 29 on the ACT and a 3.98 GPA, and I graduated with 3 college credits. The way I see it, it just allowed me to get a little head start in college. I got started earlier so I could finish a little earlier.
And that go-getter attitude was a part of Sanders' upbringing, and he caught on quickly and kept helping in whatever way he could.
I've always seen my mom giving back to her community in any ways. Even whenever she was like working at a regular job, she was volunteering at CASA. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of made me want to help my community and give back to them. And so I just felt that I had a responsibility to, like I said, bless other people's lives. My family's blessed, and other people don't have the same blessings that I do. And I feel that everybody deserves equal opportunities. And if I can help them attain that, then I did my job.
And you could say Sanders took his volunteerism and giving back like a job. His projects far from small, and their scope touching lives throughout his Hammond community. One project helped kids in the CASA program living through tough circumstances find a smile during the holidays.
It's just a really good organization to give back to, because these kids in foster care, they're being pulled out of their homes. They don't know if they're going to get Christmas presents. They don't know where they're going to be in the next few months. So it's just kind of good to give them a little sense of security and, homeliness.
What was it like when you handed out those boxes of food, handed out those school supplies? What was it like to see the faces of the kids when they got Christmas gifts that they probably would not have gotten otherwise?
Oh, it was great. It just gave me this feeling of accomplishment. Like I did my duty to my community.
Another project reaching even further and testing his fortitude. Talk to me about your particular projects, one that sticks out in your mind as it challenged you, but after you finished it, you felt like a great sense of accomplishment.
The one that comes to mind is the blessing boxes, because I had to go through a process to get those ready, because we had to build them from scratch. We got donations from different organizations for the supplies. Then I actually had to go in front of the Hammond City Council and propose my idea to be able to put it on the grounds of in front of the courthouse and in front of a little park in Hammond. So that was just a strenuous process. And then I had to think about it a lot, because you never know with like vandalism or how the community is going to respond to it, if they're actually going to donate or not. But after putting them up and filling them up and going back and checking them and seeing that people are actually giving back to it and that the cycle is actually happening, that, like I said, it gave me a feeling of accomplishment.
What would you attribute your success overall to? I mean, you've been very active, you volunteered, you got good grades. What would you say is a major factor in your overall success, Garrett?
I'm going to say it again, my mom, because she always pushes me to do my best. And then, again, the 4-H program, because I feel that's prepared me for success in the future.
And Sanders plans to major in nursing with the eventual goal of becoming a certified registered nurse anesthetist. The Louisiana Young Hero program is being presented this year with the generous support of the Propane Dealers of Louisiana, with additional sponsorship by Hancock Whitney, Community Coffee, Demco, and Hotel Indigo.
LSU gymnastics coach Dee Breaux announced her retirement this week, ending the longest coaching tenure in any sport in SEC history, 43 years.
She nurtured the program from an unsteady beginning to the perennial championship contender. Longtime assistant Jay Clark takes over as head coach, while Breaux will remain in an emeritus-type role with the athletic department.
In 2018, she was named an LPB Louisiana Legend.
I am so fortunate, and I am so happy about what we have accomplished at LSU and the village and the support that I have had in the process. And it is my professional desire that I will leave a self-sustaining program, a mark at LSU, an excellent program that will be remembered for generations.
The legendary Dee Breaux. Before we close now, we want to go back to the governor's press briefing from Thursday and hear from Dr. Gina Lagarde. She was one of the guest speakers.
Dr. Lagarde is the public health director for Region 9, that's the North Shore. Her cousin Nadine died from COVID in April. She urged people of our state to unite against the virus.
What I'm asking is that we mask up, that we socially distance, that we continue our hand hygiene, that we continue to disinfect surfaces, that we continue to stay home if we're not well. You know, I do worry. Our children are beginning school this week. They have the right to be able to go to school and the teachers and the staff and not have to worry about high cases of COVID in our community. Help us to help us.
Help us to help us. And everyone, that's our show for this week. LPB wants to make sure Louisianans' voices are heard in the national PBS American Portrait Storytelling Project.
Choose a topic at pbs.org/American Portrait, then submit a video, photo, or simply your thoughts. Share your story today.
For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Andre Morrow.
And I'm Natasha Williams. Thanks for watching.
Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.